I know that a lot of stuff going on online, I've checked out, actually. Just want to say that because it's too upsetting to me. I know it's extremely upsetting for you guys since you're way more in the middle of it than I am. But obviously you need a fair, impartial, well-explained investigation that assures everyone the rule of law lives in the United States. I think it's essential, and I hope that we get it. I think we're going to have to push for it. We should push for it. But as to what happened, again, totally fair in my view to ask sincere questions. But I think it's important to remember the big picture, which is whatever happened, it was a species of the same phenomenon, which was the fight of evil against good. And his murder was an attempt to extinguish the light, period. And it didn't work. Like that's the main thing to know. There are lots of things I want to know. And again, we have a civil system that has to go through a process in order for this government to continue, or any government. Yes. It has to be transparent and motivated by good faith, and it has to try to affect justice. That's a key, and I don't think we should blow past it. However, again, big picture, this is light versus dark, and you feel the darkness all around us. It comes in many different forms and many different guises. These are disguises, okay? But what it really is the age-old, it's the Lord of the earth. It's Satan. Sorry to say that. It is. Deliver us from the evil one, I think is the actual translation in the Lord's Prayer. And the evil one is all around us. But Charlie's murder is a reminder that we are surrounded by God and God's protection and God's love. And that is so obvious. The light has not only not been extinguished, it's glowing brighter. I hate like dumb metaphors like that, except this one is totally real. And so we should, or I speak for myself, I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the big picture while demanding a precise accounting. That is legitimate. But I'm not going to get so caught up in that stuff that I miss the true message, which is forces of darkness tried to extinguish the light. And not only did they fail, their effort was counterproductive. That is the truth.
Frank, I was just sorry. I was in sort of wrapped by what you were saying.
Sorry, I felt that. I felt it coming up. I couldn't keep it down.
It was beautiful. I was looking for somebody else to respond here quickly.
Well, let me mention something related to that. Our mutual friend James Lindsay had a text exchange with Charlie. In fact, he sent it to me the other night because I was speaking at a university here in North Carolina on Wednesday night about Charlie. And I related this story, and let me just read you what James sent to Charlie and what Charlie sent back. Very astute response by Charlie. James said, and this is August 24th, 2023, communism is by far the best evidence in support of Satan's existence. Charlie writes back, 100%. And then the next text he writes back, if there is a Satan, then there is a God. And James writes back, that would follow. So evil actually shows that God does exist, not that he doesn't, because there'd be no such thing as evil unless there was good, and there'd be no such thing as good unless God existed, because in any objective sense, the only way you can define good is God's nature. Otherwise, everything's a matter of opinion. You couldn't say murder was really objectively wrong unless there's a standard of objectively right that we're all obligated to obey. And what we mean by that is God's nature. And as Tucker pointed out earlier, our founders understood that. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men were created and endowed by their government. No, it doesn't say that. Endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. So if evil exists, and we all know it does, we saw it 8 days ago, then God exists.
Well, and that is honestly the way that a lot of us were convinced of the reality of God was by being forced to acknowledge the reality of evil. I can say that for myself. My wife, who's like the person who keeps our family text chain grounded in the truth, sent a verse this morning that basically said that exact thing. And there are a number of them throughout both Old and New Testaments, as you know better than I, but that say that God will use evil for his purposes and that he will reveal himself through sadness as well as joy. And that is practically true. It's not even a theoretical concept. It's a living concept for those of us who concluded just on the basis of the evidence that these were not political differences, actually. These were not political phenomenon. These were a bunch of different things. I won't get specific, but you know what I'm talking about. This is the face of evil. And that brought us to the reality of God. It's like wild. That actually happened. It happened to me.